Welcome back to the Acadiana Postgame Coaches Show. Steve Peliquin, Gerald Broussard from the Mellow Mushroom, corner of Johnson Street and Duce Road. We feature another local school each and every Monday night here at the Mellow Mushroom. And tonight we feature the Acadiana Wreckin Rams. Joining us right now, the head football coach of Acadiana High, Coach Ted Davidson. Coach, thanks for being here this evening. I know you guys got a busy schedule. I know you guys got a lot of things going on, but we appreciate you coming.
Well, we appreciate being here. Thank you.
You playing good football right now. As I was talking to G, I know that it's not perfect. It's not where you want to be, but at the same time, you've won, what, 4 in a row now. So you starting to feel pretty good right now? Yeah,
we're playing better now, and good thing is those 4 were all district ball games, and it's kind of put us out in front in our league, and we'll be playing this Friday for a chance to clinch our district championship. So it's a big week for us.
I was talking to G, and we talk about tradition, and Acadiana has so much of it right now. You've had so much success in the last decade plus, and really beyond that. Do you think sometimes it's unrealistic expectations to have on the kids? Because people keep talking about, can they live up to what last year's team did and what 2 years ago? And at the same time, I know that you want those kids to feel the tradition that Acadiana brings. So how do you balance the two, or do you want to balance the two?
Well, high expectations, something that we live with. And it's a positive thing. We try to make a positive thing out of it. We want each senior class. We challenge them to make their own mark. And they're expected to do well, and they expect to do well. It kind of keeps the work ethic there.
I know that, a lot of coaches would like to play every week, but that week 9 coming up for you, and again, I don't mean to overlook the games that's coming up, because you got a big one coming up, which we're going to talk about in the matchup against Sam Houston. But that break in week 9, that might be coming at a good time for you, because you're a little banged up right now.
Yeah, we are. We're a little banged up. We got a few guys nicked up right now, and hopefully we can kind of patch them up and get another week out of them before we get the open date. But a late season open date. We had one a couple years ago in week 10, which is a little strange because you don't know who your next opponent's going to be when you got week 10, when you go into the playoffs, and you really kind of at a loss of what you're going to do at practice that week. But this year we have an open date at week 9, and we have New Idea week 10, and so we have something we can kind of work on during that week of practice. But it's a good time to have it.
Homecoming this week. Any concerns? I know some coaches hate homecoming. What's your thoughts on homecoming?
It follows the Lafayette High week, so it's kind of not quite as crazy. Homecoming week is not really as crazy as the week before.
That's true.
Our Lafayette High week is probably a little crazier than homecoming. So, there are distractions, and we tell our kids, hey, our job at homecoming is to win the football game. And we'll let the alumni and the other kids, they're the ones that have the other activities going on.
And I'm not just saying that because you're here. I've said it on the radio before. When I look up football coach in the dictionary, I just see a picture of you. You know what I'm saying? And you look like you still having like the time of your life out there. What makes this job, not necessarily at Acadiana High, although I'm sure that's a big part of it, but coaching young men and being a high school football coach, what does that mean to you personally?
You hope you make a mark on these kids. They need, today they need a lot of direction, and they need, role models and people that kind of can guide them through some rough times. There's a lot of craziness out there now, and they need some stability, and we probably try to provide that for them, and it's great, and it keeps us young, keeps me young, dealing with kids every day, and keeps me up on things, and I may not look it, but it has kept me young.
Ted Davidson, the head coach of the Acadiana Wreckin Rams, joining us this evening on the Acadiana Postgame Coaches Show. You know, when you got into coaching, I'm sure one of the things that you said, okay, I'm never going to have to worry about is somebody going on Twitter and going on Facebook and all this other stuff and saying something really crazy about our team or our school. How do y'all address that? Is that like a day-by-day thing, or you talk about it at the beginning of the year? How do you address that as a coach?
You know, we don't talk a whole lot about it. You know, if something comes up, we'll address it. You know, and a couple years ago we were playing a game where there was it got a little crazy, and then, you know, and I had to kind of say, hey, look, you know, I don't want to see your name on social media. I don't want to see anything, you know, posted on social media, and you know, try to control it a little bit. But, you know, most of the time, you know, it's gotten to be so widespread that I think fewer and fewer people pay attention to it, you know, as far as taking it seriously.
Is there a couple of wins that stand out more than any other in your coaching career?
Yeah.
Do you remember your first one?
Yeah, I remember that one. That was a long time ago. That was before I was at Acadiana. I was at Livingston Parish. I remember that one. It was a 7-6 win over Live Oak when I was at Walker High School. And that was I still have the football, the game ball with the score on it, somewhere up in the attic. But I remember that one. But there's several that stand out. You know, there've been some key moments. I remember, well, of course, the 2006 state championship game was special. When we went up to West Monroe in 07 and knocked them off when they had a TV show going on. That was one. You know, that's the first time we beat West Monroe, which, you know, at the time they were the benchmark program in the state. And you know, there was a couple of local games. I know the semifinal in 2010 against St. Thomas More was a big one, and then followed by another West Monroe win. And, you know, there's probably a top 10 if I could remember them all and go through them. But there's been a lot of good ones.
Now, without taking, you know, much away from the teams that defeated you, they say coaches always remember losses more than wins. Are there a couple of losses that still stick in your craw to this day?
Yeah, there's a few, you know, that are still kind of there. You know, we had a Lafayette High loss in 06 that was kind of tough to take, and a couple of losses to Karen Crow were pretty tough. But you know, I guess I look more on the positive side there. You know, the wins kind of stick out more.
How do you address it? I'm going to let G get in here. Oh, no, I got to let the G-Man come in and ask you a couple of questions. But how do you address leadership? It looks like you've had a lot of great leadership. I mean, you don't have this much success without senior leadership. Is that something that you just expect of your seniors? Is that something that you talk to them about providing? How do you address leadership?
Yeah, we talk to them about it. You know, and I think when they get to be seniors, they know that they're expected to lead. And you know, sometimes your leadership doesn't come out of your seniors. You know, there's some kids that become leaders. You know, and we've had that situation before. We've had underclassmen that, due to just their persona and the way they play, that they become our leaders. And I don't think you can force a kid into being a leader. I think you kind of give them the opportunity to grow into it.
Coach, I just want to steal the mic from you, too, because I wanted to talk a little bit about the Veer, about the Acadiana Veer. You mentioned the games against West Monroe and Coach Showers and them. I remember when I was a young coach going up there to recruit up at West Monroe, I went to talk to Coach Showers. West Monroe was not a program that people looked up to at the time. It was Washita and Neville and those kind of stuff. And he started talking about wanting to run the option with the eye back at about 11 yards deep. I thought the man was on crack. But as it turned out, he was trying to, it was his version of running the veer, but he was doing it with a pitch back in a relationship. You've been in the veer. Acadiana's been in the veer. It's a physical offense and stuff. With all the spread today, how good does it make you feel to be able to go up to people and just pound them?
It's fun. You know, we enjoy watching film when, you know, we're able to kind of smack them around and knock them off the football a little bit. You know, it's fun to watch. You know, and I think it helps us that there's so many spread offenses today that it does give us an advantage because you know you're an O-line guy. You know that the zone blocking and what we do are two different animals, and you know you're getting a lot of push and shove on the other, and we're coming off and hitting you in the mouth a little bit, and it you know, it's tough on some people when they're not used to it.
Well, and they don't see it daily, and they don't see it weekly, and I do think that's something that when you watch an Acadiana football team and have been seeing it for years, you know, it makes you tougher on both sides of the football because you practice against. I've seen your practices now, and so there's no pushing and shoving there. There's a lot of striking.
Right. Our defensive people have to, you know, it helps us become physical defensively because you got to be. You know, you got to take us on every day, and it helps us defensively to become more physical. And you know, I'm amazed at how some spread offensive teams that run all this smoke and mirror stuff. You know, when they get physical on defense, I said, you know, they must really do something special at practice in order to get physical, because I've seen some practices and it looks kind of like flag football to me sometimes.
I know. And I tell you, that's the thing, and Steve and I talk about it all the time, is that there's a difference between execution and gimmick. And sooner or later, I mean, you got to be beyond there's got to have some substance to your image, you know, image over substance. That's one thing I've always admired about you, and I kind of, you know, Lafayette High Acadiana this past week, and it was weird to be able to see both teams running the veer.
Right.
And I know, you know, y'all have had some success with it there, and you have it at Acadiana there, but to see Coach DiMaggio saying, okay, in order for us to get where we want to go, we got to be able to do that. Yeah. You know, and that was, I don't know if you took that as a compliment or not, but to me, I was like, man, if I'm Coach Ted, I said, God, dog, not them. I don't want anybody else having to practice against it.
You know, and it helps both of us be able to stop it because we see it every day. And you know, a lot of these teams don't see it. And one big problem they had is they can't simulate it in practice. Yeah. You know, they just can't. There's no way a Barb or somebody like that can simulate what we do in practice and prepare for us. And it's got to be a shock to them when we come off the ball like we do and the backs hit it as quick as they do. It's just, you know, it's got to be something they have to adjust to.
I know, Stephen, and we talking about this, and there is no way. I mean, we used to have to try and practice just to get from the 2-point down to the 4-point stance and then come off, in the timing of it to where you don't jump off sides on defense, and then you know, Acadiana does just enough of going from up to catch you, and then they have the hesitation in there. But the speed of which they go and that back hits you is unbelievable when you haven't seen it, because so much of the stuff that you see nowadays is bucket step. Mm-hmm. There ain't no buckets over there now. Those buckets are getting kicked. But I tell you, Coach, as a line guy, it gives me the frissons just to be able to see you on Friday night. Just keep coming off and striking, and you know, it's mid-October. That just means Acadiana's getting a little bit better and getting ready to make that playoff run. Anxious to see it this week. We talked about you've had some staff changes.
Yeah, we have.
And maybe you can talk about them a little bit.
Yeah, we've our defensive staff went through quite a few changes. We had a couple of guys retire. Coach Dawson Durbin, been with us since I think 2008. And Coach Jeb Broussard, which I think was from 2011, been with us, defensive line coach. They both, Dawson retired and then took another job in Foley, Alabama, over there on the beach. And and Coach Judd, he's just kind of hanging around taking pictures of us each week, but traveling and having fun with his family. But we've Kyle Sebo, who's been with us since 2011. He's become defensive coordinator. He's coached our secondary. And then we moved Jordan Romero from the offensive side to D-line coach, and then hired an ex-Mighty Lion, Cedric Figueroa, who's also was a Notre Dame player and also played in the NFL as our linebacker coach and runs our special teams. So that's the new staff that we've got right now.
And it looks like you have good, you know, chemistry on that coaching staff too. You know, so I've never coached before, and G knows that I don't try to be a coach, but I know that coaching is not unlike radio or anything else. There's some really good radio people out there, and maybe we couldn't do a show together, not because he's not good or I'm not good, simply because the chemistry isn't there. There's a lot of good football coaches that, you know, maybe with another entity, they'd be really good, but maybe with you or somebody else, it just wouldn't mesh. It looks like your coaching staff, especially over the last 10 years or so, you've always had that ability to mesh, and guys just know their roles, and it's been all great.
We've been fortunate. The coach at Acadiana, one thing you got to have some thick skin, all right? Because we're gonna, if you got thin skin, you're gonna be upset sometimes. But because we get on each other pretty good, and we kid each other a good bit. But we have a good time. But and most of us, for the most part, everybody's proud of what they do. But they're willing to swallow their ego a little bit, and which it's necessary to a degree to work together as a coaching staff. And another hire we got that's really fit in great with us is a legacy of one of our old coaches. Matt McCullough's with us now.
Yeah.
Scott's son, and he's helping with the offensive line, and he's really taken to that. He's enjoying the heck out of that. But our staff does. We get along well. We socially interact and do some things. I mean, we better like each other because we're together a whole lot.
How's the cool weather? How do you like that? I mean, you don't have the pads on, but you're working real hard in the summer too. The cool weather's got to be a relief.
Yeah, it's nice. It was nice today. It was it's been hot. The humidity's been down the last couple of weeks, but it started getting hot again, and it's so dry. But today was a really nice day out there.
Before I let you go, Coach, was there somebody that had a major impact on your coaching career, you as a young coach, or maybe you growing up? Was there somebody that you not necessarily idolized, but somebody that you really respected had a major impact on your coaching career?
Well, I've always been a big fan of football, and I came up, I was always a big Green Bay Packer guy, and I loved Vince Lombardi, his toughness and his grit, and I always respected that. And then I worked for Bill Dotson for 23 years,
yeah.
and he was a tough old bird. He was crusty and he was tough, and I learned a lot from him, and learned a lot about dealing with kids from him, and those guys, you pattern yourself after a couple of guys like that a little bit, you can't go wrong.
Well, and you haven't gone wrong. You've had great success at Acadiana, and I mean, you've taken over the ball, and Acadiana just continues to roll. Congratulations on all your success. Congratulations on the year you've had so far. We wish you nothing but the best, and once again, thanks for coming here tonight.
All right, thank you for having me.
That's Ted Davidson, the head football coach of the Acadiana Wreckin Rams. It's Acadiana Wreckin Ram night here at the Mellow Mushroom, the Acadiana Postgame Coaches Show. We do it each and every Monday evening from 7:30 until 8:30. We'll come back, and G and I will continue our high school football discussions. We'll go over our blue poll, red poll, our player of the week. We'll do it all as the Acadiana Postgame Coaches Show continues from the Mellow Mushroom. This is ESPN 1420 and ESPN1420.com.